In the wake of Nichols' killing. The latest, 2 EMTs and a fire department lieutenant have now been fired. So that's 3 in the fire department. And a 7th Memphis officer has been relieved of duty. Last week, 5 of those 7 officers were charged with second-degree murder and assault for Nichols' death.
Of course, you guys can ask John about this later, but I've been talking to Memphis Police Department officers today, and they've been telling me that when you file an initial police report, you also include a use of force part of the report as well. So if you had to escalate, maybe go hands-on or use some type of force, you usually include that in the police report. But these discrepancies kind of stand out to us as we've watched this video over and over. We'll take you through some of them. It says Nichols was an aggravated assault suspect, so that stood out to us as well. And then it said he was sweating profusely and irate upon exiting the vehicle. As we watched that video, you saw the officers actually approach that car with a lot of force. And then it says Nichols grabbed for Detective Martin's gun, and then Martin listed as a victim in this case. Of course, we don't see that initial pull for any officer's weapon. And then it says Nichols pulled on an officer's duty belt, and there's no mention of the kicking or punching of him. And again, after talking to an officer who's worked in this police department for quite some time, he said that would be listed in that incident report at some time. Of course, not only have we called to see the full report that was initially put in, we also have asked for that 7th officer name that hasn't been released.
This report's common.
Well, there's nothing common about this incident because the report does not reflect what happened. So it's more than discrepancies. But, Allison, it seems that as if they have built into the narrative a series of justifications. And it's interesting that you hear them mouth some of those at the end of the beating on tape, as if they're building a story that goes somewhere other than we dragged a guy out of a car and started beating him and didn't stop till he was in a fatal
Meaning
condition.
The part about he grabbed the gun, I think he grabbed the gun, I think he grabbed the gun, like it starts to take on a life of its own.
Even more than that, because when you heard them talking in that scene we just played, one of them says, you know, I said, hey, brother, and, you know, he came out of the car and bam. Now, we've all seen that first video.
Right.
They're screaming at him before he's ever out of the car, and he's saying, what did I do? What did I do? I'm getting on the ground. Okay, okay. So they're constructing a false narrative that is false from the beginning, not just the elements they add at the end.
But they also know that they're being recorded, that there's a body cam that both is picking up the story, but also has the incident that doesn't reconcile with what they're explaining.
Great question, but it cuts both ways. They know that the body camera is going to be blocked. There's all kinds of chaos and confusion. Not everything's going to be recorded so you can see it plainly. So they are building that narrative while they are still recording because they know they're still recording. So they're trying to say, when you look at this tape, here's the parts you might have missed. Here's something that they didn't account for. The poll camera, which captured it all clearly. There's something else here. In the report, they say a lieutenant, and they name him and give his shield number, made the scene, indicating he was there. This is the first time we have ever heard about a supervisor 2 ranks up having been present. So there's going to be a real question about, okay, this lieutenant got there when and was there for what part of this?
Ryan, we know Tyree's funeral is scheduled for tomorrow. So what do we know about that?
Yeah, we do know that tomorrow Breonna Taylor's mother will be here, George Floyd's brother will be here. We just learned the vice president will be here at the funeral tomorrow. Put all this together with a news conference that's supposed to happen just in the next few hours. So much still happening here, and obviously with this investigation, people asking questions about that initial incident report and just how many times this Scorpion unit was involved in incidents that haven't been reported or gone this far.